Hello, how you doing? I want to talk to you today about the rent increases. Now, the landlords say they are perfectly within their legal right to increase the rent three times, but they usually pay for it. One person went from 1,500 a month to 6,400 a month. Now, you may as well just buy a $300,000 home. If you're gonna pay $6,000 in rent, you may as well just go buy yourself a $300,000 home. But see, you don't have any time to waste. I'm talking to Black women in particular. Why? Because we are the poorest of the poor. I'm talking to us in particular. Us. There is nothing for us at all. They're going to kick us out of housing. They've already done it. They're kicking Blacks out of Section 8 housing. They've done it in Louisiana, Mississippi, Atlanta, Georgia, everywhere. And they given that housing to, first of all, the Central American illegals, where the government pays 100% of the rent. They don't pay any rent, ever. That's why they can go get a expensive truck and pay $300 a month in the car payment. Okay, they don't pay for rent or food. They're going to give this housing, first of all, to the Central American illegals who aren't even supposed to be in this country. They're going to give it to the Ukrainians. 100,000 Ukrainians already came to this country, already are in Seattle, Washington. They're going to give it to the the 100,000 Afghanistan people that have already come over here. They're going to kick Blacks out of housing, kick poor whites out of housing, kick poor Blacks out of housing, and giving it to the Afghanistans. Because the government has not built any subsidized housing in 40 years, and they're not going to build it in 40 more years. They're giving the housing. They're going to kick Blacks and poor whites out of housing. They're going to give the housing to the Afghanistan people and the Ukrainian people. But first, they're going to give it to the Central American illegals. You don't see any Central American illegal homeless, do you? No, not even in Los Angeles. Why? You don't see any. They're kicking Blacks out. They're doing it in every state. I'm telling you, I'm repeating myself. They have already done it in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Atlanta, Georgia. They have already done it, kicking Blacks out. You got senior Black people who used to live in subsidized housing. Now they live out of the car. And I'm telling you, if you are senior citizens, get out of those expensive towns. You better get out now. You got to be really honest about everything, about not only your finances, everything. Senior citizens, look, they're not going to give you a break in Tampa, Florida. If you're living in Tampa, Florida, which is prime real estate, they're not going to give you a break. Okay, so senior citizens, I'm telling you, you just better move out of Tampa, Florida. Go find a cheap state. You better go find some housing in a cheaper state. Now, if there's any left, you better go do it right now. Because Tampa, Florida, I don't care what kind of job you 72 years old, you got a nice job at Disney World or something. I don't care about that. You better sell what you have and you better move to Tennessee, Kentucky, somewhere, where the housing is dirt cheap. You better move now. Now, I grew up in the projects, but look, you know what they're doing to the projects? They're kicking Blacks out of it, poor Blacks, poor whites, senior citizens out of the projects. I grew up in the projects. And they're giving those apartments to, number one, the Central American illegals, and they're going to give out some more to the Ukrainians and the Afghanistan people that they let in, 100,000 plus. You better go buy some land now. You better go buy some properties that's delinquent, tax delinquent property, house, abandoned properties. You better go buy it now. Because they're letting so many people in this country, they don't care about the Americans at all. So I'm telling you, Black women, please buy some land now. Let them have the apartments because they're not going to help you anymore. The government's not going to help you anymore. The government does not care whether we sink or swim. Not only does the government not care whether black people sink or swim, they don't care if black women sink or swim. They never have cared about black men anyway. You better go buy some land now. I'm telling you. I've seen, because I watch the news a lot, rent skyrocket from, $1,500 to $4,800. That's ridiculous. It's the same shack. It's the same shack, okay? And look, some of these houses, nobody should be living in. They just that deteriorated. Nobody should be living in a shack. How in the world are you going to charge $3,400 for rent for a shack? But this is real. This is in Minneapolis somewhere. This is real, y'all. People charging so much money for a shack. Okay? This is real. So I'm telling you, please go buy some land now. Go buy some cheap land now. I'm talking to you black people. Why? Because we're the poorest of the poor. And look, ain't no black celebrity going to help you either. You better buy it now. The black celebrities don't care less about you either. Okay? Because see, who writes their check? They're going to do whatever the person is that writes their check. And the person who writes their check says you can't do anything for the blacks in America. That's the person who writes their check. So the rich black's not going to help you, ever. Don't even depend on them. Go buy some land now. Bye.